So in this video, I'm going to name it Thank you, Mr. O2 Tank, for purging. It is not my vessel that's purging. So in this video, I'm going to be converting my 12 volt CO2 for power. I'm going to convert it over to run off of 24 volts. So this, since the solenoid is 12 volts, I'm going to have to use a buck converter. So I have said buck converter. So we'll take it out of the package. So here is my buck converter. It is a fully adjustable one. This will take 50 volts, I would say, probably about 40 volts to maybe a volt. So it's got enough range and enough capacity to run a little tiny solenoid. So this will take 24 volts and convert it to any voltage that I want. So more than likely, I'm not going to run the solenoid at a full 12 volts. I'll probably run it at 10 volts. It should operate and keep the solenoid cool and happy. So let's wire this up. So it has an in and an out. This is the in and this is the out. So I'm going to take the full China Pride adapter and I'm going to chop off the wall wart. What do you mean? Chop it off? Yep. So now I'll strip the wires. This is very fine gauge wire, so it's be a little bit of a challenge. There's only like a couple of strands in this garbage. But I think the maximum is half an amp, and I don't think that little solenoid probably doesn't draw any more than 100 milliamps. Now I'll strip the wires. And we'll insert it into said buck converter. So on the buck converter, it has a positive out and a positive in. So it has two methods of connection. You can use the terminal block, or you can solder them, I should say. Because some people have a problem with the terminology of soldering, which is what us Americans like to call it. And then you get the Canadians that like to go soldering. So we're going to use the terminals today. And maybe in the future I'll solder them. So we'll hook this up. And then the next thing we'll do is we'll set up the voltage for it. Okay, that's that. So this part will connect to the solenoid. Well, first we need to set the voltage. So for temporary, I'm going to hook it up to bench power here. And it's a 12 volt, so that doesn't matter because we want to set the output voltage. The input voltage does not matter. So right now we have an output of 14.1 volts. So what I want to do is set the voltage. So in this one, it has 4 buttons. It has an on-off button, an in-out button, and a positive and negative. So I'm going to take the 14 volts and bring the power down to about 10 volts. There's 10 volts. So now we're running at 10 volts. My little wire here is playing peekaboo. So we'll unplug that for a minute. Put the wire back in. Okay. Now we'll plug it back in. And we'll turn it off for the time being. So right now it's off. And we'll hook it up to the solenoid. And I have my solenoid connected to my vessel. And I don't know if I'll put the mic right next to it. And we'll hear it click. So I'm going to turn it on now. It is now on. Now it's off. On. Off. On. Off. Excellent. So now I can hook this CO2 generator to my 24 volt light system. So anytime that the daytime lights are on, the CO2 will automatically start. And that's the good thing about this buck converter. It remembers the setting that it was in at power off. So right now it's off. If I were to unplug it and plug it back in, it's on. So it's programmed to be always on. And then you can set it up. I don't know why we want to, but you can set this device up to be off during power up. So right now it's set up to be for power on at any time it receives power. So right now it is on. If the lights were to go off, the relay shuts, the CO2 stops flowing, and then when the power is applied, boom, it's on. So this is a kind of like a niche video. This is my setup because I'm running off a 24 volt system. So I need to take 24 volts, convert it to, well, 10 to operate my solenoid. The solenoid should be happy. It should last forever because it's not getting the full 12 volts. It's getting 10 volts. So that's it for this video. We'll see you on the next one. And if you notice that I am building condensation down here, and I am building pressure, I am at 6 psi. So it's working. So we'll see you on the next video. Bye.